I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video I'm going to discuss about area of triangle. We'll begin with deriving a formula for finding area of triangle when three vertices are given to us. And then we'll apply this formula to find area for a given triangle. And then we have to find area of a triangle with midpoints of the given triangle, then ratio of the triangles which we just worked out. If we join the midpoints, then each length is half the length of the original, so the area should be 1/4, right? So we'll calculate that ratio and check our result. And the last example here is, given the midpoints, how do we find the vertices of triangle? So these examples will cover most of the topics you need to know about area of triangle. So the concept is kind of like this. Before I begin, let's say I take a triangle like this, right? In that case, to find a formula of the area of triangle, I am going to look into these trapezoids. So this one trapezoid is area where the area of trapezoid will be add these two sides, half them up, and multiply by the distance between the parallel sides. Correct? That's the formula. And what we are going to do is, we are going to use the three trapezoids. One, the big one, right? This one. Then that one, correct? We'll add them and take away this one to get area of the triangle. So that is how we are going to derive the formula. Then we'll know the vertices A, B, C. Substitute those values in the formula, find the area, and then we are going to check what the midpoints could be for given A, B, C, and connect these midpoints to form a smaller triangle, find that area. Lastly, we'll start from the midpoints, get the vertices. So I hope it's clear what we are going to do. It might take quite some time to do all these questions, so have patience or skip to the portion which is of your interest, right? So let's begin with the very first one, talking about area of the triangle, right? Concept I've already discussed with you. Now let me sketch here once again a triangle just as I did earlier. So that is the x-axis, y-axis, and let's make a triangle in general, right? So let's say this is the triangle which we are talking about. Okay. The vertices are A, B, and C. A, let's call this as x1, y1. B, let's call this x2, y2. C, x3, y3. Correct? So these are the three vertices. Now we're going to drop these perpendiculars so that we form trapezoids, and we'll use the formula of area of a trapezoid to find the area of the triangle. Correct? Let us call these points as M, L, and N. So now we got these points. We have everything. That is the coordinate plane XY, correct? The formula for a trapezoid, let's say, is, as you know, this area of a trapezoid, that is a four-sided figure, right? So kind of like this, where these two sides are parallel. In our case, the vertical sides are parallel, okay, is equal to half of sum of these two sides, let's say A plus B, times height. So that's the formula which we are going to use, right? So let's begin. So the area of the triangle ABC should be what? Triangle ABC means what we're looking into is area of each trapezoid, right? Each trapezoid. So let's call this, let me make this just as I make triangle like this. So we have two parallel sides, correct? So trapezoid, we say ABML. So this is first. The second one is AL and C. So when we add that, we actually get all the area under the triangle. We have to take away area of this trapezoid, correct? So we have to take away area of the trapezoid BMNC. That makes sense, right? Now, as I was saying, area of a trapezoid is, let me use more space here, half of parallel sides. So if you look into the first trapezoid, the parallel sides are the y points, correct? So y1 and y2. So half of y1 plus y2. And the distance between these two is the difference x1 and x2. So we'll multiply this by x1 minus x2. Does it make sense to you? Perfect. Similarly, for the next one, it is half of parallel sides are again y1 and y3, right? So let me write y3 and y1. We're following an order. It could be either way. However, the x values you have to subtract from 3 to 1, correct? So x3 minus x1. And now we have to take away the lower trapezoid, which is BCON, right? So which is minus half of. So here we have y2 and y3, correct? So we'll add them up. These are the two parallel sides. And the difference between these two is x3 minus x2. Perfect. So that becomes the area of our triangle. Now we can take this half common. It's with all these factors. And now let us look into what do we have with x1. So we'll kind of factor x1, right? So with x1, you will notice we have y1 plus y2. Let me write that, y1 plus y2. And then we'll have 1x1 with a negative sign. And here we have y3 and y1. So we'll do minus y3 minus y1, correct? Similarly, now let's come with x2. So we'll write plus here. Don't bother about minus sign. We can write these negatives. So we have minus y1 minus y2. And with x2, we'll have positive thing also. So what happened? So the last one here is minus here. And therefore, that makes it positive. Does it make sense to you? This is negative, right? So negative and negative makes it positive, right? So these figures become positive. So we have positive y2 plus y3. Correct. And this is with x2. Similarly with x3, so I'm running out of space here, I'll write here. So we have plus x3. With x3, we have these two positive, y3 plus y1. And the negative part is, this becomes negative because of that negative, minus y2 minus y3, correct? Let's close the bracket. Now, we are almost there. We have half of. Now with x1, what do we get? Now y1 cancel, we get y2 minus y3. Plus with x2, what do we get? We have y2 and y2 cancel, so we get y3 minus y1. And with x3, y3 and y3 cancel, we get y1 minus y2. Correct? So that is the formula which you get as area of a given triangle. Does it make sense to you? Now it may be complicated to remember. So what I'll suggest here, think like this. We have three numbers here, 1, 2, and 3, correct? So 1, 2, and 3, order is maintained, correct? So in every this step, so we'll go like 1, 2, and 3, correct? So if you begin with x1, then we have y2, y3. If you begin with x2, then we have y3, y1, right? Of course, a difference. If you begin with x3, then we have y1 minus y2. Does it make sense to you? So that becomes your formula. So let me write down now the formula. For a given triangle ABC with any general coordinates, the area of triangle is half of, if you write x1 first, you do y2 minus y3, correct? Then we have to write x2. Follow the pattern, y3 minus y1, y3 minus y1, and with x3, you're starting at 3, y1 minus y2, y1 minus y2, right? So that becomes the area. Now you have to remember that area is a positive quantity, right? So area is a positive quantity. So we'll always take absolute value of this. Is that okay? So area is always positive. So take absolute value as area is positive. Perfect. So we have a formula, and we also now know how to remember this particular formula. I hope the derivation was very simple and clear. Now let's move on. Apply the formula and get the result, right? So I think I copied this once again. So let's take up the next page where we have the vertices given to us, and we'll just calculate the area, right? So the vertices are given to us. We say area of triangle ABC is equal to absolute value, right? So half is always positive. Anyway, we'll write absolute value also. Half of x1 times, we have to remember this also, correct? So what I'm doing here is again writing 1, 2, 3 for you, so that this cycle is being maintained to remember. Otherwise, we might do a mistake, right? So x1 comes, then we have to do 2 and 3 for y2, right? Plus with x2, we have to do 3 and 1, so y3 minus y1, plus x3, 1 and 2, so it is y1 minus y. Does it make sense to you, right? And of course, this will be a positive value. Perfect. Now, you could treat in any order, but prefer to write like this is x1, y1, correct? This is x2, y2 for you. x3, y3. Right? So these are the points. Substitute their values. Simple as that. So we are always taking a positive value. Half of x1 is this point 2, right? 2. y2 minus y3, that means 3 minus 1. So it is 3 minus minus becomes plus 1, correct? Plus x2, that means this value is 0, times y3 minus y1, so that is minus 1 minus 1. Plus x3, which is again a 0. So what I've done is taken very simple values to calculate. y1 minus y2. So y1 minus y2 is 1 minus 3, right? So the beauty is I don't really have to use calculator, right? So what we get absolute value of half of, here we have 2 times 4, right? 2 times 4, and fortunately all those, sorry, at least we have a number here. 2 times 4, so that gives you 2 and 2 cancel, and we get 4 square units. Does make sense to you, right? So I took very simple values so that, we don't really land up in big calculations, right? And I'm not even sketching the triangle. Once you have the vertices, you can just write down the values. Perfect. So the area of this big triangle ABC is 4 square units. Now we are going to use this area in one of our questions, and therefore just remember this. Okay. Now here, find the area of triangle DEF formed by joining the midpoints of the triangle whose vertices are ABC. So I've taken the same vertices which I took in the last example, right? So whose area was 4 if you remember, correct? So find the ratio of area of these two triangles also. So let me draw this triangle now, this time. So, okay, so I'll just draw this triangle. So we have A, which is 2, 1, B, 0, 3, and C, which is 0, minus 1. Perfect. Now for their vertices, we know midpoints. Let's say this is midpoints, right? So these lines should be parallel when you join them. They may not look like, but assume they are. Okay, so we get the vertices of the triangle, and vertices are D, E, F. So A, B, C, let's say D, E, and F. Let's find the coordinates of point D, E, F. Now D is the midpoint, right? So therefore, the coordinates for D will be what? Add them, divide by 2. So it is 2 plus 3 divided by 2 is the x coordinate. 1 plus 3 divided by 2, right? So, 2 plus 0, sorry. Okay, so 2 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2. So the coordinates for D will be 1 and 2. So let me write this as 1 and 2. Okay. Similarly, let's find coordinates for E. So for E, we have to add the x value 0 plus 0, divide by 2, 3 minus 1, divide by 2. You couldn't have simpler values than these. That's the whole idea. So it is just 1, right? And I might do a mistake with these values also. F, okay. Mid value of these, that is 2 plus 0 divided by 2, 1 minus 1, that's good, divide by 2. So we have the value of F as 1 and 0. Okay, so simple. So it is 1 and 0 for F. Correct? Now we have to find the area of the triangle DEF. The whole concept here is to understand rather than get lost in the calculations. I hope you appreciate it. So we have half of, now I have to write down the formula. So I have to see how to remember it, right? So we'll just say x1, x2, x3, right? So we say x1 times y2 minus y3. So we have to follow one order, right? Which is like 1, you could start from anywhere. So 1, 2, 3, and we'll go clockwise, kind of like this. Is it okay? So let's read it. So it is x1, y, x2, 3. Okay, so x2 will be y3 minus y1 plus x3 will be y1 minus y2. Correct? So we're just beginning to learn all this. It's a good idea to remember. Right? It's a very useful formula. Now the calculation is simple for us. So we will just do absolute value. We'll do half of x1 is 1 for us, y2 and y3 is 1 minus 0, plus x2 is 0 for us, and 3 minus 1, 0 minus 1, plus x3 is 1 for us, y1 minus this, that means 2 and 1. Okay, and we have to take the absolute value of all this. Perfect. So that becomes half of 1 times 1 is 1. This is 0, and 2 times 1 is also 1. So it is 1 plus 1, and that gives you the value as 1. Correct? So what we found here is that the area of triangle DEF is 1. Correct? Earlier we found that triangle ABC area was how much? 4, correct? Was 4. And DEF is 1. So what is the ratio? So the area of triangle ABC is to area of triangle DEF is basically equals to 4 is to 1. Correct? So that is the result. So you can go back. Let me show you the page where we calculated DEF, and this is ABC, right? So we got 4 units. Perfect. That's the 4 units. It's the same triangle. Now, let's move on and do the next part, which is the last question. So here we are given points P, Q, and R, and they are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, and CA, respectively, of the triangle ABC. Find vertices ABC, and hence find the area of triangle ABC. So this time what I've done is I have a triangle here, and I'm giving you the midpoints. Midpoints, right? Again, taking very simple values. P is 1, 0, Q is 1, 2, and R is 0, 1. You have to find A, B, C. That's the question for you. So A, we don't know, we'll write x1, y1, right? B, x2, y2, C, x3, y3. You have to find these points, correct? The method which you normally study is, this is the midpoint, correct? So what will you do? You will do x1 plus x2, will do x1 plus x2 divided by 2 should be equal to the x value of 1, correct? Or you can say x1 plus x2 is cross multiply, 2 times 1, correct? Similarly for y1, y2, you say y1 plus y2 divided by 2 is equal to 0. That's the point, right? Midpoint. So we have y1 plus y2 equals to 0. Is that okay? So basically these coordinate points are twice the sum of these two. So for BC, I could write my equation x2 plus x3 is equals to twice 1, right? So it is 2, correct? Twice 1. And I could write y2 plus y3 is equals to twice 2, which is 4, right? 2 times. Perfect. Since this is a mid value, so that's the formula for mid value. Similarly for R, we can add these two sides. We can say x1 plus x3 is equals to twice 0, which is 0. And y1 plus y3 is twice 1, which is 2. Correct? So once you get these equations, we can add them up, right? Just add them up. So if you add them, you see everything comes twice. So we have 2 times x1 plus x2 plus x3 equals to 4, right? Similarly on this side, we get 2 times y1 plus y2 plus y3 equals to 4 plus 2 is 6, right? So dividing, we get x1 plus x2 plus x3 equals to 2, and sum of y's is 3 for us. Now how do we find x1, x2, and x3? We know sum of all 3 is given to us. For 2 of them is already given, right? So what we can do is, let's call them as equation 1, 2, 3, and this is 4, right? Now what we will do here is, to find x3, I can take away what x1 plus x2 is. So x1 plus x2 is 2 for me, correct? So I'll use this portion, substitute here, right? So we know x1 plus x2 is 2. So for this, what I'll do is 3 times I will do the same thing. So I'll write 2 plus x3 is 2, right? So I'll write x1 plus x2 is 2. So I'll substitute this first. And so I can write 2 plus x3 is 2, or x3 equals to 0. Does it make sense to you? Similarly, I will substitute this here, y1 and y2 right there, which is 0. So I get y3, or 0 plus y3 is equals to 3. Does it make sense to you? So we get x3 as 0. So this point we already got as 0 and 3. Do you see that? 0 and 3. Now similarly, I'll do the next substitution. Let me do it in a different ink, which is this. So if I substitute x2 and x3 and y2 and y3, what do I get? I get x1 plus x2, x3 is 2. So I'm writing 2 here equals to 2, right? So from here I get x1 equals to 0. Is it okay? As far as y is concerned, we get y1. y2 plus y3 is 4. So I'm writing this as plus 4 equals to 3. And so y1 is minus 1, correct? So x1, y1 is 0 minus 1. Do you get an idea, correct? And as far as this is concerned, I'll take away this, right? x1 and x3. So I'll take away this, x1 and x3. So I can write x1 plus x3 is 0. So I'll write 0. And I'm left with what? I'm left with x2 because I've taken away these two. So plus x2 is equals to 2. So x2 is 2 for me, correct? And in this case, y1 plus y3 is 2. So that means this and this is 2. So I got 2 plus y2 equals to 3, or y2 equals to 3 minus 2, which is 1. So I got this coordinate. Do you see that? So we get all the three coordinates using this method. So find the average value by adding, dividing by 2, get an equation with twice sum of these coordinates, and then in turn, one by one, take away the sum of 2 to get the value of the third one. I hope you get it, right? Now, in one of my videos, I've done it in a much shorter way. Let me share that with you. In a triangle, when you join the midpoints, then we know the sides will be parallel, correct? And of half the length. So this is actually same as this. I mean, these two are equal, correct? Now, I could get this value by doing a simpler calculation. If I go from 1 to 0, I take away 1, right? So the change in x is minus 1. If I go from 0 to 1, the change in y is plus 1. So if I take away 1 from here, minus 1, if I do minus 1 for x, and if I add 1 for y, I get 0 and 3. Do you see? I get 0 and 3. So without calculations, with simple logic, I could actually get all the coordinates. So you can actually look into this video also, how to find the midpoints, how to find the vertices given the midpoints. So very useful video. With this, I think we have come to an end. It was rather fast of this exercise of deriving a formula for triangles area, finding midpoints, and from midpoints, the vertices, and comparing ratios of the triangles so formed. I hope you understand and appreciate it. Feel free to write your comments and views, and if you like my videos, and share them with your friends, it'll be good for me. Thank you and all the best.